After his big fall into the boards in last night's game, we were worried about Juraj Slafkovsky's health, but we have an update that says he is most likely going to be okay. We'll be talking about that, plus a tweet that speculates that Evgenii Dadonov might get waived to make room for Joel Edmundson. Finally, we got some great news on Lane Hutson again as he wins Defender of the Month in the NCAA, so you won't want to miss this episode of Habs Digest. Hello, bonjour, ahoy, and welcome to today, November 2nd's news edition of Habs Digest. I'm Josh Gosse alongside Jesse Poirier, and before we get into the video, another quick reminder, as we do before every video, you guys have been amazing with subscribing to this channel. This number's going down every day, but we're still at over 87% of you who aren't subscribed, so if you enjoy being kept up to date every single day on your Montreal Canadiens, me and Jesse have your back. All right, Jesse, let's get into our first topic today. Juraj Slafkovsky is likely not injured. I watched the game last night. You caught some of the game last night. We all saw that hit late in the game. Marco Rossi, as Juraj Slafkovsky's bringing it up near center with just a couple minutes left, Marco Rossi gives him a hefty shove, space from the boards, and Juraj was off balance and he fell. Looked like he hit his back, his head. He looked very, very shaken up. But this tweet from Priyanka Emrith, she's done a great job at every Habs press conference covering what's been said. Nick Suzuki on the Rossi hit on Slafkovsky. I think it's kind of a dangerous spot to be, a little bit away from the boards, but I know Slav is feeling okay. So yeah, it was good of the guys to get in there and help him out. So what we're taking away from this, Jesse, is Slafkovsky is feeling okay, and honestly, I was super worried, but that is the best news we could have possibly heard.
Yeah, he's built strong. It's normal coming to the NHL that we're going to have some little hits. The little guy, Marco Rossi, kind of getting him there with that one. But, he's going to bounce right back. He's going to be okay. But I like how everybody's just there to stand up for him right away.
Yeah, we saw as soon as Rossi hit him, Jake Evans went straight to the bench to try and get him. Rossi managed to duck behind his bigger teammates. I guess as you do. He didn't really stand up for himself. But Mason Shaw came in. Evans tried to take him down, and he finished the game, of course, with the 5-minute major for fighting. And we saw Jack-Eye just the next shift go after Rossi. Of course, we're really happy that these guys are stepping in, Jack-Eye and Evans, to really protect these young guys. But I wanted to get your thoughts. Now that we know that Slav is okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about the reffing last night, because throughout the whole game, it felt like it got a little chippy here and there. There were some interesting calls. That second Kirill Kaprizov goal that I thought might have been a high stick from Rossi to set him up, and just some points later in the game, like when Gallagher was down in the crease next to Marc-Andre Fleury and Spurgeon was just holding him down, giving him cross checks. There were no calls. It felt like the refs favored Minnesota a little bit last night, and I gotta wonder, does some of that go back to Chris Lee, the guy that us Montreal fans love to hate?
Chris Lee, the blind referee. Yeah, he just always seems to turn a blind eye to the high sticking, for example, by John Merrill there in that game. Just didn't see it.
Nope.
Just didn't happen, apparently. He just wasn't looking there at that time. You'd say it's fair once in a while. And of course, Josh, we don't like to, say it's the referee's fault we lost. And of course, we're not insinuating that. But what we are saying, though, is that he did a poor job of officiating a Montreal Habs game, once again. And we're just looking for a little bit of a change in that front, because if you look at some of the statistics regarding when he's officiating us, it's starting to get a little bit questionable, here. It's like we're actually experiencing a 13% bump in penalty minutes just whenever he's officiating game. You can just guarantee that. And then our chance of actually winning a game decreases just by 8.2% just every time he's officiating, and he's been around long enough now where it's not really just a coincidence anymore, so we're just hoping that we can see a change in that in the future.
A 13% increase in penalty minutes that's kind of shocking. 8% win thing, and maybe we can toss that up to Montreal being very volatile through the years, but that is surprising. And like you said, it's not a super small sample size. Lee's been around for a while. He reffed some very high-profile games for Montreal in the past few years. Namely, we all have a memory of Chris Lee being the ref in the Vegas series when Mr. Suzuki got punched in the face to no whistle, nothing at all. But that is a shocking statistic, and I can't help but wonder if, that lack of officiating maybe led to some of the chippiness later in the game. Maybe Marco Rossi, if that game hadn't have been chippy and it had just been a smooth game, maybe he doesn't even go for that hit. He just lets Slafkovsky go through. Now, let me reiterate, I don't think it was a dirty hit by Rossi. I think it was a clean hit with very unfortunate consequences and maybe a bit unnecessary. You don't necessarily need to be doing that distance from the boards that late in the game, but I digress. You gotta wonder if maybe if this game was reffed a little better, a little tighter, that Slafkovsky wouldn't have got hit into the boards, but as we know, he's okay, and that's what matters. All right, so let's get into our second topic here today. Off from Slafkovsky onto someone who hasn't been playing recently for the Montreal Canadiens, and Evgenii Dadonov. There was a tweet that came out from Eric Engels today, said, quote, "Naturally, Evgenii Dadonov's sudden need for treatment on consecutive days," because of course he has had a treatment day for multiple days in a row for Montreal. His sudden need for treatment on consecutive days after being scratched is fueling a lot of reasonable speculation that he'll eventually be waived to free up a roster spot for Joel Edmundson, who doesn't yet have the green light from the doctors. We didn't see him last night. We also didn't see Mike Hoffman last night. Martin St. Louis has said that he's going to be rotating guys in, whether, if he thinks you really deserve to be playing, he's going to play you, but just because you're a veteran and you're making a certain salary, that doesn't mean you're guaranteed a spot. We saw Hoffman and Dadonov have not been playing up to par. We saw Pitlick and Drouin back in last night. But yeah, Dadonov has been, he's been sick. He has legitimately been ill, but I can't help but wonder, do you think this could be something that Kent Hughes decides to do, Jesse? Do you think he could waive Dadonov to make room for Edmundson?
To be honest, I would be surprised because we're still trying to get some value from Dadonov, and that was the whole idea of playing him on some of these higher lines, which, let's face it, Josh, kind of had both of us kind of perplexed at different points so far in this season. So I do believe that Kent Hughes has shown an immense talent for for getting proper trade acquisitions, like for just getting the highest value that he can. So I don't think that he's necessarily going to do this with this player because he's not far removed from 20-goal seasons, everything else like that. He's not playing the best so far, but he is still a talented player. So I believe we can still get something for it.
Yeah, and I'm a little confused too. I mean, I don't really get this tweet from Eric Engels. If there's legit speculation from insiders, sure, but if he gets waived, correct me if I'm wrong, but if he gets waived and no one claims him, that $5 million is still on Montreal's cap for this season, and you just get nothing for him at all. You just free up a roster spot. And is it really worth that? Like, I don't know. I feel like there's got to be some kind of market where you can just dump him. I mean, I've seen some speculation maybe to the Washington Capitals since TJ Oshie is now out long term. But yeah, I'm not sure about this. I know we'll need to make room for players. Of course, Matheson, Edmundson. I don't think Byron's going to be coming back anytime soon, unfortunately. But it's a little confusing. I agree. I still think we can find some way to dump him, maybe half retained later in the season. But I think you got to play him. We got to show that he's worth something. But when I say we, I don't think it's Montreal's job. I think it's Dadonov's job. And at what point, Jesse, do you think it would be worth waiving him? At what point do we just say it's a lost cause? Because let's be honest, so far he just hasn't been impressive.
Well, first, I think, yeah, we have to play him, but we have to play him on the third or fourth line, maximum, So I think maybe we might see a spike in his play from there. So I know Marty's still figuring some stuff out. He's tinkering with the lineup a little bit, but I think we do have to give him some run because he is, again, law of averages. He is bound to score some goals pretty soon, and everything else like that, and some assists. So I'd say let's keep playing him for right now, for sure. But at some point we're probably if we can just do a trade just to get whatever we can, I think I'd prefer that over waiving him.
Yeah, I saw a comment saying, just tell him you're trading him to the Ducks, and all of a sudden he'll say, no, they're on my list of no trade teams, and he'll go score 20 goals for your team, just like he did in Vegas last year. So finally, off from Dadonov, quick little hitter at the end of this video for the last 2 minutes or so. I want to talk about Lane Hutson again. If you've been watching these videos, I apologize for... No, I don't apologize. I love Lane Hutson. I'm going to talk about him every chance I get. And look at this. Lane Hutson, the awards keep rolling in. He's been named the Hockey East Defender of the Month. The last few awards I've shown for him have been for freshmen exclusively, but he is the Defender of the Month for his conference in the NCAA. Jesse, he has 8 points in 7 games, including a 2-goal game fairly recently last week, worth a tying goal late in the third and an overtime winner. He's been incredible. I mentioned in one of the other videos, he said he likes Arbor Jackeye. He likes how he stands up for the little guys. What are your thoughts on seeing maybe a Lane Hutson Arbor Jackeye pairing, or maybe Lane Hutson in Laval when he's done in the NCAA? Are you as excited for him as I am?
Oh yeah, I'm really excited. I could see, a nice, because I think we're going to see that in the future of, because, defense much in the NHL, it's transitioning towards skill, but you still need that grit, right? So I think we're going to see a lot of combinations of that in the NHL as, defensemen even start to get more offensively minded, right? So yeah, I think that potentially would be really great to see together. And, he's just going to tear it up at the AHL. I just can't believe that they stole this guy, because
I know.
I can't believe all these general managers are sleeping around the league like this just to let. This is where the NHL is trending. I mean, you can have smaller, quicker defensemen. You see it all the time now, right? So how they didn't realize that, and in 2022 is kind of beyond me. But anyway, we got him. So better for us. But by the way, I love that award he won, Defender of the Month.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's like a monthly segment we should have, get like an animation for that, it's like a picture of him, like statue with a shield, like Defender of the Month.
Oh, I like that, actually. We might have to get on that. But yeah, it's a cool award. I mean, I don't know if it means Defenseman of the Month or actual, playing defense, but he's very offensive, so I assume it's Defenseman of the Month. Either way, Lane Hutson's been super impressive, and I can't wait to see what he can do at the next level. But that'll do it for today's news video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe, like the video. We're trying to work towards 5,000 subs now, because why not? You guys have been amazing with it. But yeah, we'll see you in the next video. I'm Josh Gosse for Jesse Poirier. Have a good one.